Welcome. You've got emo stuff. Saturdays on Planet Radio
106.7
with Hunter deBlanc.
Planet Radio 106.7. Welcome to another SADurdays. I'm Hunter deBlanc, playing all your favorite emo and pop punk, all that Warped Tour era's music. And you may know my guest this week as the singer of the band Mayday Parade. You can also hear him releasing tunes under his own name. This week I have Derek Sanders with me. Derek, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
Dude, I am great. I am stoked to have you on the show. Me and my old college roommates were obsessed with Mayday Parade during the Tales Told by Dead Friends EP era, and we are so thrilled to see the success that the band has had for the past, 20 years.
Well, that's very kind, man. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Well, Derek, I'd like to go back a little bit further than that EP. And if my research is correct, Mayday Parade actually formed because of two bands from Florida merging together.
That's right, yeah. It was a band called Defining Moments and a band called Kid Named Chicago, two Tallahassee bands. And, this was back in 2005. And at the time, there was this amazing, vibrant local music scene of all these bands, and we would all play shows together and go to shows together and practice in the same places. And so I was in Defining Moment with some of the guys, and the other guys were in Kid Named Chicago, and just somewhere along the way we kind of had the idea to join forces essentially, and that's how we started Mayday Parade.
We're going to play something off of the 2007 album A Lesson in Romantics, which was actually a title of a song that you wrote prior to Mayday Parade forming. How did the album end up with the name of this song, and the song didn't end up on the album?
So there was a Defining Moment song called A Lesson in Romantics that I wrote when I was probably 16 or 17 years old. Whenever we recorded A Lesson in Romantics, even after we had finished the album, we still didn't have a name. We were on Fearless Records, and we kind of had a lot of this back and forth where we just couldn't land on anything that everybody was really stoked about. And I wish I remember exactly. I don't know if it was my suggestion or someone else's to call it A Lesson in Romantics, and it just kind of clicked, and we loved it, and Fearless loved it, so we went with it.
Well, we're going to play something off of it right now. The opening track, if you're familiar with the band, you definitely know this one. It's called Jamie All Over, off of the 2007 album A Lesson in Romantics by Mayday Parade, right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
You're listening to SADurdays. All of your favorite emo and pop punk songs, both old and new, with Hunter deBlanc on Planet Radio 106.7.
Planet Radio 106.7, welcome back to SADurdays. I'm Hunter deBlanc, playing all your favorite emo and pop punk stuff every Saturday night right here at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I'm here again with Derek Sanders of the band Mayday Parade. And Derek, after Jason left the band, I felt one of the biggest hurdles for the band was going to be trying to find an identity as no longer a dual vocal band. And the band really accomplished this with an album that just turned 15 years old last week, Anywhere But Here. What was the writing process like going in with the absence of your writing partner?
It was pretty difficult. As you said, it really was, one of, if not, the biggest challenges that we've faced in this band. And the timing was just crazy. Jason left after we recorded A Lesson in Romantics, but before it came out. And then we were just so busy for that whole year, and the album was pretty successful. So now we felt like there was all this pressure to follow up. And I think it actually took a little while. Anywhere But Here, we were upstream to Atlantic Records, so we were now on a major label, and there's a lot more money being put into it, and the label kind of has a lot more sway in the decisions of how things go and what happens. And so we ended up doing a lot of co-writing for Anywhere But Here, where Jake, the drummer of the band, and I would fly around to Nashville or LA or wherever in New York and do all these co-writing sessions. And, if I'm being honest, I didn't really love that process, but, I think we learned a lot, and I think the album still, turned out okay and did pretty well. And, for a lot of bands, they don't make it past something like that. So I'm always grateful that we were able to get through that and then continue on. And then I think that after that album was when we really sort of had to reevaluate. As I mentioned, I feel like when we put out A Lesson in Romantics, we were just going nonstop and without really having a second to kind of step back and reassess how should we approach this as a band now that Jason's no longer here. And so we kind of took it back to the roots of, we don't want to do co-writes. We just want to write the music that we love and we believe in and do it that way. And we kind of got back to a little bit more of the dual vocal thing with Jake doing some more of the singing, and then did our self-titled album, which in a lot of ways I think was sort of a return to form for us, and that's partially why we made it the self-titled album. And so again, with all of it, I feel like we learned so much, and I'm just grateful that we were able to push through all that and continue to grow as a band.
Well, we're going to play something off the self-titled album, and it was indeed a return to form. I think this is one of the most quintessential Mayday Parade tracks. It has it all. It has the piano ballad intro, it has the soaring gang vocals, it has the big chorus, and we're going to let our listeners hear it right now. This is Oh Well off of the 2011 self-titled album by Mayday Parade right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
You're listening to SADurdays. All of your favorite emo and pop punk songs, both old and new, with Hunter deBlanc on Planet Radio 106.7.
Planet Radio 106.7, welcome back to SADurdays. I'm Hunter deBlanc, playing all your favorite emo and pop punk stuff, and I'm here again with Derek Sanders of the band Mayday Parade. And Derek, it's time for our segment, New Song, Old Band. And we're going to play More Like a Crash, which came out last year. We actually premiered it the day after it dropped. The chorus has one of the biggest earworms out of any Mayday Parade's discography. The ooh, ooh, where it mimics the little guitar part. How did that part come about? Is that like something that just happened in the studio and you were like, this is so catchy?
It actually is, which, most of the time isn't the case. Most of the time, just kind of a pretty finished idea that we come into the studio, and things might change a little bit, but it's pretty often that we just kind of record the song as it's written. The original demo of that song, which, maybe someday we'll release, was something I put together that did not have that part. It had like a guitar solo at one point, but it didn't have that hook in there. And then when we were in the studio to track those 3 or 4 songs together, whatever it was, we decided we liked this song and wanted to do it. And it was actually Jake, our drummer, it was his idea to add that hook in there. And I think that really kind of elevated the song for all of us, where the song was almost there, but that was something that I really think it needed. And so I'm glad you pointed that out, and that is such a cool part, and it's such a fun song to play live, and it's done really well, and hopefully it's kind of a staple in the set that we can keep doing for a while.
Well, I hope so. I hope I get to hear it live soon, and we're going to let our listeners hear it right now. This is Mayday Parade with one of their newer songs, More Like a Crash, right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
You're listening to SADurdays. All of your favorite emo and pop punk songs, both old and new, with Hunter deBlanc on Planet Radio 106.7.
Planet Radio 106.7. It is now time for our cover song of the hour, and we call this segment Covers for Lovers. And Derek, Mayday Parade is, you're all now Disney princesses officially. You guys covered one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite Disney movies, Coco, Remember Me. How did you guys pick this track?
It was really difficult. When we were approached by Disney to be a part of the compilation, we were just so excited about it. And I know for me, and I assume most of the guys as well, I feel like for like 2 weeks straight, I was just listening through as much of the Disney discography as I could and trying to sort of, think about and plan out what could work. And I think it's an amazing song and it's an amazing movie. It's a little bit, less known than some of the bigger, banger Disney songs. We thought about maybe trying to do something that had a bigger appeal that was known to more people. But when I got to this track and then started to kind of put together a rough little demo of a verse and chorus of the song, it just felt great. And that was a big thing, is that I wanted to do a song where we weren't just kind of covering it exactly as it is, where we could sort of change something about it and make it feel more pop punk, but still capture some of what's great about the original idea. And this one was just sort of the best candidate for that. I think it's an amazing song. It also works really well as a Mayday Parade song. I think, that was a big issue with a lot of these songs, is that they're phenomenal songs. They're really well written. They're super catchy, but you're singing about something in a Disney movie that might just feel a little bit odd and maybe a little cheesy doing it this way. But this one, lyrically and the vibe of it, the feel of it just kind of felt right out of the gate. So it turned out great, and I'm so glad that it's released and it's doing really well. And I have no idea whether we'll play the song live at any point soon, but I'm sure at some point we'll be expected to. So
we got to get a Mayday Parade at Epcot, man.
Oh my gosh. Hey, I've been trying to make that happen. So hopefully that now that we've done the compilation here, hopefully we can make that happen.
Well, we're going to let our listeners hear it right now with their cover of Remember Me from the movie Coco off the Disney compilation, A Whole New Sound. This is Mayday Parade right now on Planet Radio 106.7.
You're listening to SADurdays. All of your favorite emo and pop punk songs, both old and new, with Hunter deBlanc on Planet Radio 106.7. Back to the sadness. It's SADurdays on Planet Radio 106.7.
Planet Radio 106.7. Welcome back to SADurdays. I'm Hunter deBlanc, playing all your favorite emo and pop punk stuff, all that Warped Tour era's music right here, Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I'm here again with the one and only Derek Sanders of the band Mayday Parade. And Derek, we're going to play one of your solo tracks. We're going to play Howl Canyon. I really dig the reference to the Georgia Sunrise, which is very bringing it back full circle to, one of the first Mayday Parade tracks that we all know and love. Can you tell us a little bit about your solo work and what sets it apart from, maybe a typical Mayday Parade song?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something that I had thought about doing and wanted to do for a long time. It's just difficult. We're always pretty busy with Mayday Parade, so it's hard to find the time to focus on something else. But I guess both of the EPs that I've done as my solo stuff took me years to put together because of that, and just not having much time to work on things. But it's really exciting to do. With Mayday Parade, everything is a partnership. Everyone has an equal vote and equal say in how we do things, which is great, and I wouldn't change that. But it does mean that sometimes there are ideas that I'm personally very excited about, or things that I think we should do that we don't get to do. And I know that we've all in the band felt the frustration of that. And so the beautiful thing about having a project like this is that I just have complete freedom to do whatever I want with it. And Howl Canyon, this song, for example, is one that it may have been something that I could have brought to Mayday Parade and we could have done something cool with it. But I kind of created this song and this demo, and I was like, I love this as it is, and I don't want to hand it off and perhaps it gets changed or reworked or, whatever. So I was able to just, kind of put it out the way that I hear it. And I always like the contrast of it's pretty sad lyrically, but it's also pretty poppy song. I like the way those, two vibes kind of work together. I'm going to try and continue to do some more solo stuff when I can. Again, it's just trying to find that balance and the time to work on it.
Well, I really enjoyed the covers of Punk Rock Princess and things like that. I'm a big something corporate guy, so that was cool to hear your take on that. And I know you also teamed up, you reunited with Jason for a song on the EP as well.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, I actually had a different piano song for the EP. And then right as I was about to wrap up everything, Jason reached out to me, and, we've kind of been in touch the last couple of years. He had this, sort of the beginnings of a piano idea that he asked if I'd be interested in working on. And I just loved where he was at with it. And so we you just threw bouncing ideas back and forth, finished the song. And then it just kind of made sense to put it on the EP, and it's the first time that we've sang together on something in quite a long time. So I'd love the chance to get to collaborate with him more in the future. Hopefully that happens. He's just one of the most talented dudes ever, and really has a true talent.
Oh, it's such a treat to hear you guys. Your voices just complement each other so well. And Derek, you guys are doing When We Were Young Fest in just a couple of weeks, and you're playing A Lesson in Romantics in full, right?
That's right, yeah. It's been kind of like trying to figure out the way to do it. We weren't sure how long our set was going to be. It's going to be an issue, I imagine, for a lot of bands that they don't have time to really play the album in its entirety. So we've been kind of working on how we're going to do that. And I think we'll be able to play at least some of every song, because we don't want to cut songs out and then, you know, the one person there might be like, oh, I've never got to see this song live, it's my favorite from the album, and I never get, you know, never see them play it, and they're excited about it. So we're going to play at least a little bit of all the songs and most of them, and it's going to be such a good time. And there's so many bands playing albums that mean a lot to me that I'm very excited to see. I think it's such a killer idea for them to have the majority of the bands doing album plays all at a festival. I think that makes it kind of extra unique and special, and I'm very excited about it.
Well, I hope to catch the album in somewhat of its entirety at the festival. I'll be there as well. And Derek, one final question. It is October. What is your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, favorite scary movie? I have to go with The Shining. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and even though I think he might not love the way that movie turned out, I think that movie's just brilliant and phenomenal, and that's got to be my favorite.
That one did it for me as a kid. It scarred me for life. That scene with the lady in the bathtub. Oh, I'll never get over that. We're going to let our listeners hear Howell Canyon right now. I want to thank you for chatting with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Derek Sanders of Mayday Parade. This is his solo track, Howell Canyon, right here on Planet Radio 106.7.
Goodbye.